All right, so we're back again with another official YouTube video. This is going to be the official entry for now into my different usernames contest because I do not know if I'm going to update this gun further on after this entry because there's been a lot of revision. You probably see it in the background right now on the desktop itself. There's been a lot of different revisions going on, and I'm going to make a whole separate video on all the revisions that went on to making this gun and whatnot. But we're going to be taking a look at the Potoo, otherwise known as the AKM-16. The Potoo part of it is because Potoo is a really funny bird that has this unique call where it basically screams the word mom as loud as it possibly can. And just look up a few videos for it. Just type in Potoo, you'll probably see all sorts of different videos on YouTube of it. And the actual like official name, I guess, would be the AKM-16 because obviously, it's a modernized kind of AK, and it's the year 2016, so it follows in that same kind of basic direction that most AK names come from. For example, like AK-12, because it was kind of designed in 2012, but it's based off the AK design, so that's where that comes from. Bear with me, guys. This is going to be a really long video. This is not the normality on the channel. You know, I like to keep my videos between 7, 8, 9, and 10 minutes long. I'm pretty sure this one's going to be right around the 20 to 25, maybe even the 30-minute mark. There is a lot of features that we're going to have to show off in this model. But without further ado, I'm going to introduce to you guys the Potoo. This is the complete version 9. Supposedly in this set, because like I have different color coordinated sets. You saw the black one, you saw the tan one, and now you see the gray one from the like modifications that I've made to it. So this is everything that we have. So this is about 3007 bricks. It's down here in the left-hand corner. All of it was built on LDD by me myself, and it took pretty much about the span of 22 hours at this point. I don't know if I'm going to put any more in it or not, but we will see going further on down the line. Now then, we're basically just going to dive right in. We're going to start from the back end of the stock and we're going to work our way forward and then come back and jump in between a few things that we may have missed coming through here. So the first thing is this stock right here. The stock was really fun to do. I used a different method than what I usually use. I actually used a method where the arms of the stock itself are plates that are turned sideways. The reason for this is obviously because plates turned sideways and then interlocking over one another have a less chance of breaking than what they usually do if it's just a bunch of bricks stacked the proper way, kind of like these bricks up here. Also, the AC vent just clicked on. I apologize if you guys can hear that in the background. The other thing was getting this unique angle. So the way that I got this unique angle was actually using a turntable design that Lego has itself. And then to get the kind of the ridges in the stock design as well, I had to use jumper plates, and this was a real fun type of design to do. And it worked out very well, and as you can see, the stock came out incredibly smooth looking. I'm actually really happy with how smooth the stock came out in terms of its overall look. The other thing is that these arms are actually 3 studs high, and because it's 3 studs high, it's a very sturdy stock. It's not something that's going to just easily bend and break, especially because this piece right here is actually a 2x16, so you have this long bar running down the center of it that's surrounded on both sides by plates, and that's something that I'm really happy with. Now then, this is an actual adjustable stock. It works based off of a very simple lever. So this is the lever right here in the back, this gray part right here. So if you can see, this piece right here is locked into a little notch, and the notch is easier to see right here on this back recess. So because it's locked into this notch, the stock is not going to move in and it's not going to move out. So in order to unlock it, you're going to simply pull this down about yay far. Obviously, if you don't want to pull it down that far in real life, you could pull it down just this far. And then your stock is going to be able to move in and out wherever you want to put it. Now then, because this is LDD, I have to do this a kind of a pain in the butt way, but basically in real life, the stock would just move in and out. Just take my word for it, to be completely honest. And then right about here is the other position. where the stock would lock into position once more. And you can see the locking recess aligns where it's supposed to be. And then this piece will come and snap right back up, just like so. You can see it sticks out on this side. This is where you would kind of adjust it. This is where you would stick your thumb at to pull it down. And then you can move your stock in and out. So as it's locked, it's in this position to the rest of the gun. I'm going to leave it locked for the rest of the video to show off a few different points later on as we get into it. Here's the grip. This is kind of a really different grip. Most of the grip is turned sideways. This entire front section is turned sideways. Yes, these pieces are in fact turned sideways. And then this entire back section is turned sideways as well. This bottom section is turned upside down. And because of all these different upside down and turned around pieces the way that they are, I get this really unique angle. So I made it so that these outlying panels are one stud smaller than the inner panels, so that it's a more curved design going through, and you can see the little ridge that appears because of this. And that ridge is a good thing because that makes it more comfortable on your finger itself. You can see down here at the very bottom we also have the sling mount on the bottom of the grip, what I presume to be the sling mount. This was a really fun thing to try to design because it used a lot of kind of jumper plates. You can see some of the jumper plates here. You can see another jumper plate right here. And then these pieces just kind of butt into one another. This one is obviously upside down. This was really fun to do. And then just to give this a little bit more color to it, instead of all of it just this plain gray, I added in this grip panel here, and that gives it a little bit more kind of detail and just elaborateness to it. And that's something that I really like to have inside of my models. Moving on forward into the trigger guard. As you can see, this trigger guard, this bottom part is actually turned upside down using a bracket piece. And because this is turned upside down, when your finger is sitting in this groove between the grip and the trigger guard itself, you don't have to worry about the bottom part of plate pieces, this particular part right here, digging into your finger. Because you don't have to worry about that, it's a very comfortable fit to your finger itself. And it also allowed me to use these curved pieces that really fit to the overall look of the weapon itself. You can also see that because of these upside down pieces, I was able to use this bracket piece to turn pieces sideways, and because I could turn pieces sideways, I could use this hinge piece to get this kind of upward slope going on. And at the end of that upward slope, I could use the other form of arch piece, and that other form of arch piece goes into this hinge piece, and this hinge piece goes up into the main body of the weapon to get locked in by a plate. So this trigger guard over has some really unique shaping going along throughout the entire length of it. Now then, do not worry, I can of course show how the trigger works. So this trigger is a very standard trigger of mine, and you can see that you can pull it back to about this, and then you can release it to about here. And that's something that is accomplished via a rubber band on the inside, which is something that we're going to take a look at later on down the line. Now then, according to a Facebook post that my different username made, the safety itself is this little lever button looking piece right here. Now then, right now it's on fire mode. Safe mode would technically be something that sticks out just like this. Now then, the reason I chose to do something like this is because on safe mode, it sticks out just like this. But if you're going into a firefight and you need to put it into fire, all you need to do is reach up with your trigger finger, which is because it's right above the trigger, and you're going to just push in on this, and it's going to sit flush behind the stock bar. So it's a very simple push mechanism. You just push it in for fire and pull it out for safe. And that's something that I really like because it's just a very quick motion to push in on the button, and that few seconds that you save of just pushing in the button versus a standard AK or something like that could determine the outcome of the firefight within those few moments. So safe is in this position, fire is in this position. Very simple. And you might be kind of questioning, well, if it's safety in fire mode, where exactly would your fire selector be? Well, the answer is your fire selector is on the inside of the trigger guard just like the safety would be for a FAMAS. So right now it's on semi-auto fire. If you take and turn it so that it points towards the trigger, it's on 3-round burst. And then if you take and you point it all the way over in the other direction, you would then have it on full auto. So that's kind of how the overall design works. So full auto, 3-round burst, semi-auto. And you can see that even in 3-round burst, it does not get in the way of the trigger itself because of this really good curve that we have going on right here. So something that I really do enjoy about this model is that it has a unique fire selector and it has a unique safety as well that operates via a push button. Next, we are going to be talking about a magazine, and I will be using these as an example to kind of discuss something that we have going on. So right now we have a 30-round magazine plopped into it, and as you can see that this is actually 2 studs right here, and the main body of the magazine is 3 studs. Just to prove so, you can take a look up here. This is 1 stud, this is 1 stud, and this is 1 stud. So each magazine is 3 studs wide going up into the main body of the weapon itself. This was accomplished because I used plates on the outside here to form the magwell that sit flush with the 4 stud wide receiver itself, but allow for a 3 stud wide magazine to be accepted into the receiver. And that's something that I really like to do. So I need to explain the reason I used these pieces right here, because this is not normal in Lego building. So the reason I use these pieces here is because LDD does not accept the standard mode of making curved magazines. Typically you'd see something like this, and then this bottom plate down here would be bent upwards and it'd basically be friction held on to the magazine or taped on. But because LDD does not allow that to happen, what I can do is use these pin systems here and then curve the magazines up so that we have this nice smooth curve going throughout the entirety of the weapon. The other thing that I wanted to point out about this magazine is that there's this forward hook here and this rear hook back here. So this forward hook rocks, or is what actuates the rock into the magazine well, and this back hook is what locks above the magazine release. So to show this, we can hide this right here, and you can see that this here is the back hook for the magazine, and this piece here is the top of the magazine release. And because this hook locks in right here, your magazine release locks right below it, and because this is on a rubber band, it's going to be in this position pretty much always, and that means your magazine cannot be removed. However, if you go to pull your magazine out and you depress the magazine release, do not be difficult, please work. You can pull it like this and you can see that now your magazine can start to drop away out of the gun. The other thing is the pivot point. So the pivot point is on the inside of here. You can see that right here, this is the first hook. Now then it's changed because this is obviously 2 studs wide in the front of this magazine. So this sits within this little recess here. One of these pieces is sitting over here as well. I just hid that. It's right here. So this is what you first put in, and it goes up in this little hole, and then you pull downwards, kind of like in this motion, and your magazine will actually rock into place. You can also see the simulated bullet up top, and you can also see that the bolt is right above the bullet. So there is nothing above the bullet and between the magazine, and that's something that we will be able to see right now with our working bolts and charging handle. So the charging handle is this piece right here, and you can take and you can actually charge the weapon back to about here, and you can see the top of the bullet right here, which is a really, really awesome thing. Really happy with that. But typically in more modern AK builds, you'll see that you have the ability to transform the hand or the charging handle from one side of the bolt to the other. And that's something that the AK-12 has a unique feature with. So something that you can do is actually take off this dust cover by simply pulling down on it. There's room to pull down on it. And you see that the part of this bolt is exposed over here. So now you can take and pull off these pieces. Of course, I did that. So in real life, you're going to pull off these pieces and you're going to expose a Technic pin. This Technic pin is going to now come out on this side of the weapon because it has the stop on the end of it. That does not allow it to be pulled out from the other side. You're going to then flip it around and slip it on through this end of the bolt and then reinstall the charging handle pieces that you just took off, just like so. So now that the charging handle is on this side of the weapon itself, and you can still pull the bolt back to reveal the bullet in top of the magazine, which is something that is really, really unique, and it's a feature that I definitely wanted in this model going into the actual competition itself. So we're going to put the dust cover back on. This is a very, very simple dust cover. It's just bracket pieces and then these pieces, and you can simply just pull down on it. And when you pull down on it, that one stud, it comes right on off. Kind of like an AUG's shell ejection port, it has this rubber pad over top of it, and you can just switch it from back and forth and whichever side you want the weapon to extract from. Now then, we're going to talk about the rail systems. So it has 4 rail systems. You have the top one, your 2 side ones on either side of the handguard, and then your front lower one for foregrips and things like that nature. Now then, these are 3 studs wide, 3 studs. And the reason for that is because 3 studs is just a little bit more realistic in my book. So if I have the ability to do 3 stud wide rail systems, I'm going to do so. And I had the ability to do so in this model, so that is something that I did. We're going to get into overall dimensions of the weapon because they get really, really weird in certain areas. So that'll be something that comes towards the end whenever we go to show off some of the newer features that I'm saving until last because they're some of the better features. So here's the rear sight and here is the front sight. Very, very basic sights. It's just this rear circle and then this front post that's kind of shrouded. In order to flip these down, very, very simple. You're just gonna rotate this one down, and then you're just going to, come on, work with me, work with me. Thank you. Then you're just gonna flip this one down. Very simple flip up iron sights. As you can see, it then frees up your rail space for the 2 optics, that are sitting right over here that we'll get into towards the end of the video here in a little bit. And then you can see that the handguard is right here as well. Let me check something real quick. Okay, I'm just making sure that it was recording because I got kind of scared for a second. So the handguard itself is a really, really unique handguard. So as you can see up top here, we have 8 holes, which is the exact number as seen in the reference picture. And then on the bottom here, we have 9 holes, which is also the exact number that we see in the picture. And I tried to replicate these holes as best as possible. So these bottom holes were circular and these top holes were kind of ovalish, but I tried my best with that design. It didn't work out, so I left these squared up here, and I left these circles down here. So to do this is fairly complicated, and it requires some hinge pieces. So you can see these are actual hinge pieces, and these are turned upside down, and then these are normal Technic pin holders that are also turned upside down. They have flat pieces running along top, and then they have plates on the bottom to kind of smooth everything out and make it look good. Same goes for this side over here as well. You can also see that we have the sling attachment point down here, and you can actually see the bars go all the way up into the actual handguard itself. We have our hand stop right here. This prevents your hand from flying in front of the muzzle and accidentally getting shot off, burned, whatever the case might be at the time of shooting. And then up here we have some just small minor details. We have some vents going along this area here. And then you can see this actual circle piece, because this is in fact a circle piece, as you can see here, is part of the exposed gas tube going between the barrel and the bolt back here. So this is how the actual weapon would cycle, kind of standard to most AK line of rifles. So let's go ahead and remove the 30 round magazine from outside the weapon itself. These red things will be explained here in just a second as we go to put them on. But I wanted to kind of show that you can see the top of the bolt here. And if we go ahead and charge it back just a little bit, you can see the top of the receiver as well. So this is in fact something that you can see up through. There's nothing blocking the bullets or things like that. So first up is the 20 round magazine, which was a requirement, and you can't really see it in black, but you can see these kind of ridges going throughout the weapon itself. They actually pop up out of the model, which is something that I really wanted to do. These red pieces that you see are the proper amount of space that need to go between the bottom of the bolts and the magazine. So you have a full 3 studs worth of space, and it just fits right up in here. And the magazine would obviously lock it in, or the magazine release would lock it in, and you'd have to rock it in. But considering this is LDD, I cannot fully show that method. I can only show you that it does in fact have a space where the shelf rocks in, and then the magazine release sits behind it. And you're going to have to take my word for it. But once more, this is a 3 stud wide magazine. It's got the little kind of edge in the back here, and it's got the ridges in it as well. And then we also have the 50 round drum mag, which fits right up into the magazine, fairly standard, or the magwell fairly standardly. If LDD will, it keeps popping up, keeps wanting to. There we go. Oh, actually no, that's my bad. Come on, LD, you can do it. You can do it. There we go. So as you can see, 50 round drum mag. This is a fairly circular drum mag. This is something that I'm pretty proud of. This actually uses arches that are turned sideways, and that's something that I really like about it. Here's a look of it outside of the actual magwell itself. Again, with the exposed bullet on top, something that I'm really happy with. In terms of the suppressor, this is the suppressor itself. I'm going to go ahead and do like a quick overview. This is something that I was really looking forward to building because it had all these ridges throughout it, which was something really difficult to do. And I still wanted to get the circular kind of shape to it. So to get the circular shape to it, I used these arched kind of flat pieces. And then in front, it kind of tapers down just a little bit. So to get the tapered look, I used these pieces. And then to get the kind of still circular look, plus this groove indent kind of look, I used some of these cheese wedges and then some more flat pieces. And this was a huge challenge to undergo, but it was super fun to do. Something that I quite enjoyed doing. So to put it on the weapon itself, simply have to take and make sure I get it centered. Boom, just like so. And I accidentally moved this piece, so let's put it back into place. So then you can see the suppressor on the weapon itself, which is fairly awesome in my book. So let's go through, hide that, and that, so that you can kind of see the suppressor better. We're going to go ahead and delete these red pieces because I don't really need those anymore. So yeah, here's the suppressor on the weapon itself. Really awesome looking. I'm actually really happy with how the suppressor turned out, to be completely honest. It's something that I did not think I'd be able to pull off, but when I did, I was incredibly happy with being able to do so. At the end of the barrel back on. And now then we're going to get into the sights. So this is like one of my favorite ones in particular, is because I got the sights like so awesomely close. Oh, no, I did not mean to delete that. My bad. So we can just grab them and mount them straight on. So here is the Aimpoint T11 micro or T2 micro or whatever the numbers are. It's T something. It's the micro red dot sight, and you can aim through it something that I really did want to hold. The AC vent just came back on. I apologize if it gets loud. And you can see that it's got the necessary dials on it, and this can spin. This is the power button, I would assume, and then this up here is another dial that can spin as well. And I really like the overall shape of this. This was really difficult to do, but it was super, super fun. And when it pulled off, when I pulled it off, I was super happy to do so. Now then we have the experimental red dot sight, which again just clicks on, just like so. And you can look down it. And this was also a super fun red dot sight to do because it's just this real small compact design. The base of it is 3 studs wide, but then you have these parts of it that sit over top of the rail system. And then you have these arms that come up and they have to like click together somehow. And this was just really awesome to design. I'm really happy with how this turned out, and I'm really happy that you're actually able to see through it and aim down it. So those are the attachments, aside from one that we're going to get into just later on in the video. But there's one more feature that I have not yet shown off entirely, and that is the ability to actually field strip. So the first thing to do to field strip this weapon, you're going to go ahead and you're going to turn this a full 90 degrees. This will also unlock the stock. You're then going to pull out the stock completely. You're then going to apply rearward pressure on this dust cover that you can see right here. Once you apply rearward pressure, you will see that it's going to pop off because it is only held on by this ball joint right here, and we all know that the Lego system of things can be pulled apart via that ball joint. So if we just grab the stock and move it out of the way, move this on back just a little bit. Now that we have the rear dust cover removed, we can pull off this side dust cover right here. This is a group. I don't even know why I'm doing that. Once you have that pulled off, you're then going to almost perform a kind of almost a charging yellow shade. You're going to pull off this side, and you're going to pull off the pin. You're going to slide that back into one another. Once that is done, the bolt itself will come out the back of the receiver, because now there's nothing holding it in. And now that we have the receiver kind of broken down, you can see into the chamber area right here where the rubber band is, just like so. But then we need the ability to clean our gas tube and our barrel. So to do so, we're going to first push out this pin right here. That will free our entire gas tube area right here. You can see that the gas tube is exposed underneath this little bit right here. And then the rest of this is the barrel and the chamber area right up here. And in order to pull our handguard off, plus our barrel, we're going to remove this pin right here. And once that pin is removed, our entire handguard itself will come out of the body, just like so. So then we have a completely field stripped gun. You can see that the front portion of where your chamber is open and will feed into the back of this portion of the handguard. And the reason that you might want to obviously field strip something like this is because you might want to be able to change up the type of handguard you are using. So in particular, for my example, as we go to put this back together, it's going to go back together in a different order than what it has because LDD is just kind of weird like that. It's kind of annoying, but at the same time, it's whatever. It's LDD. It's something that, as an LDD builder, I've always had a problem with. But my particular model, we have a secondary handguard here that has no sling mount on bottom and no rail or handguard down on bottom. Now then, the reason for this is because of something I like to call the PP19 Bazan or the PP90 M1 helical magazine. So you can see that there's this little thing that comes down off the top of the handguard. The reason for that will be shown here in a second as we go to reassemble the gun from start to finish. going to put that back on. I'm going to grab this, and it's going to go right into place here. We're then, unfortunately, going to have to put the dust cover on first, because that's technically where the bolt slides into, because it's on rails, and this will slide right about to there. We're going to slide our charging handle back into place from this side. Going to grab the rest of our charging handle and set it down right there. Going to refit our dust cover back on, and then we're going to need to put our stock back into place. So to put our stock back into place, I'm going to have to use this trick once more, simply because LDD is annoying like that. And then we're going to rotate this back on around a full 90 degrees, and everything is back together as it should be, except now we have a completely different handguard without the sling mount, the rail, or the hand stop that you can see in this handguard over here. Like I said before, this is because this is going to accept a form of helical magazine. Now then, this is a 75 round helical magazine. As you can see, it's got this kind of oval shape to it, so it's pretty much helical. And this works just like a standard AK mag, except it doesn't necessarily rock in off of this point up here, this point right here in the magazine. Instead, its rock-in point, where it first goes up into, is this point right here, which my different username has built a PP19 before, so he should know how this works. But it comes in at an angle, like a good 35-degree angle into this point right here, and then it rocks into place where the magazine release is in the back. So to show kind of how this looks in the overall weapon itself, we're going to go ahead and place the magazine exactly where it goes. So now then we are going to slowly hide everything that we do not need. So now then we are left with this 75 round drum mag, and obviously we can take in our magazine release will snap back into place in real life because it has a rubber band in place to do so. And then this front tab right here is what's holding on the front end of this magazine. So this is a full conversion to kind of a 75 round helical drum magazine, and that's a really cool feature. I really like the looks of our 75 round drum magazine, and something that I kind of particularly like to do the most. Let me get rid of this red brick real quick. Something that I really like to do is actually take and, did not mean to do that, color this the same color that a PP90 M1 magazine is colored, and then we get this really, really awesome looking assault rifle / carbine weapon. So that is, for the most part, I believe, every single feature for this weapon. Let me just scroll through everything. My voice is cracking. I'm going to scroll through everything just to make sure I got everything. Ignore some of these other templates. Obviously, there are other projects that I've been working on before. These are groups. So this is the field strip groups, and then we get into the magazines, the suppressor, the helical mag, the true sights, and then the handguard. So, yep, I'm pretty sure I've shown off every single feature for this weapon itself. We're going to unhide everything. So as you can see, we got the helical mag, the 30 round mag, 20 round mag, 50 round drum mag, suppressor, experimental red dot, the actual micro red dot, and then we have the normal handguard, and then the handguard that you use for the helical magazine itself. And I'm pretty sure I've gone over every single feature in depth and in length. So the last thing to talk about is actual stud dimensions itself. So Stud dimensions. This grip, 4 studs. These backstock here, 4 studs. These are plates, so I can't really count them. The top part of here is 5 studs. The back part is 4 studs. The receiver right through here is 4 studs. Even these plates, they're actually 4 studs. They sit flush with the receiver itself. The entire handguard is 5 studs, where these cheese wedges are, 5 studs. It slopes into 2 studs down here at the bottom. Up top here is 3 studs throughout the top of the receiver, and then all rail systems are 3 studs as well. Trigger guard is 2 studs, trigger is 1 stud, and then the magazine release is 2 studs. Magazines themselves, like I've said before, are 3 studs wide for the most part. Obviously, in front of this one is 2 studs wide just to give it a little bit more shape, more uniqueness to it. Something that I may have forgotten to mention before is that the barrel actually runs throughout the entire length of the handguard itself, something that I really wanted to show off and be able to experiment with. So actual red dot sight is mostly 3 studs, but it uses a lot more of the bracket pieces and plate pieces and things like that. The experimental one is also on a 3 stud wide base, and then it gets into 2 stud wide and also uses a lot of bracket pieces. Suppressor is 4 stud wide main base, and then it converts down into all these plates and stuff, so it gets a little bit more complicated. So that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I'm pretty sure I've gone over everything. This is going to be counted as the official video for now until if I update it, then obviously it's not going to count as the official video. I'm just going to delete this one and then we're going to go with a new one. But this one was a fairly clean run. I don't have too many uhs or likes or things like that in it, I hope. And I'm pretty sure that OBS has been recording the entire time. That's something that I checked in the middle of the video. But it is an extremely long video. We are going on 36 minutes. So I completely missed the time mark. We're going to hit about the 40-minute mark, I guess, by the time I finish talking about this. But this is my entry into my different usernames contest. So MDUN contest 2016 with the hashtag in the title, and then probably in parentheses, I'll probably have the Potoo AR, I'm sorry, the Potoo AKM-16 designation. And then we'll be able to kind of put a thumbnail up there, which is going to be a rendered image of pretty much everything for the most part. I haven't done a rendered image for everything just yet. I believe the last rendered image that I actually did was uh, everything being field stripped down into its proper parts. So here's the stock, this is the back dust cover, this is the bolt. On this side of the bolt is the dust cover for this side of the receiver, the charging handle, 30 round magazine, the handguard, the dust cover or the top of the gas block, and then these are the 2 pins for both of these as well. So that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for sticking with me throughout this entire video. I know it was a super long video, and my different username, if you are watching and you got through all 40 minutes of this, I really appreciate your time to take a look at this weapon. Obviously, there was a lot to go over with this, and I hope that everyone else who has entered the contest has some pretty good luck going through, and we will see each other on the other side going all the way through. See you guys later. Thanks so much for watching. Remember to comment, rate, and subscribe for more videos similar to this one. See ya.